gone? Should have sorted this out first, shouldn't I? There we go. Right, okay. Sandbox reality experiment 27.B.Y KP reverse release. Going in 5, 4, 3. The cyclical narrative of what, why, how, and what then? Mr Smartie Pants with a Plan Manifesto Rev 5.3 Mark 2.8. TRC is impossible in this instance. Please forgive me. I tried. I really did. And so this one is definitely a please bear with me production. For I'm going to try to take you on a journey with just my love. What words I can find in my heart and my mind, and all the hope that I can wrangle from my own spangly supply. So in the cyclical narrative of what, why, how, and what then, the first of the two whats comes first, which of course is absurd, as anything cyclical by its nature is not linear, it's cyclical. And yet both time and narrative demand something comes first. It is of their nature. And as this is our time and our narrative, and as we are of nature too, then so will we, see? It's okay if you don't quite see it yet, buddy, it being one of the curses of our times, that in this fast-paced, crazy days world we find in our minds pressure to know what we think of a thing before having had a chance to. Blink, and the moment's already gone by. Try, remember, why, wait, what? We need to remember again why it's okay to not get things from the get-go, but keep going with it. Anywho, you know, we have just forgotten that sometimes things don't make sense until they do. Like one of them 3D pictures where you have to go boss-eyed to see the dolphin pop out. And without coincidence, the dolphin on this journey is the very first lesson, if you're still open to such suggestion, to have faith in the process before you understand it completely. So the first what is what we got. Curators of the here and now, as we are, we look out here and now and think to ourselves, what a shit show. What a fucking mess. Or even worse, what problem? You have the problem. You lot are the problem. And each time, this time becomes our time. Good folks find themselves locked in the ways of crazy days, unable to allay doubt, unable to break out, trapped in the repeating rapids of change, again and again and again. And so do you see, where would that hope be that we could ever become anything other than this current us? And before your internal narrator gets its answer phone riposte together, I'm not talking about the positive spin-bolic shit we sometimes mind ourselves to hide behind. The upbeat words we choose to use to hide how deeply we really feel from the ones we try to shield. And if we really be being honest with ourselves, sometimes these days that is ourselves. Feeling needing protection from our current societal dejection that triggers so deep down for us that we all infer we must alone be the keepers of, a sacred secret we should never speak of. But in actual reality, it's a space inside we all share in multilaterally, communally, unconditionally. Flashcard, hey-ho. And so, the first what of what, why, how, and what then is what we got going on. But in here, and in here, right here, now, today. Hopefully thoughts be flowing a little slower now, so please keep up, buddy, because eventually, hopefully, once I got you metaphorically, emotively going boss-eyed in your mind per se, it should then be dolphins all the way. Let's crack on again, slowly. So the why of that first what in what, why, how, and what then is because we are stuck in a rut of a cycle, in fact. And I call the current iteration of this cycle we are stuck in boom bust bang, or bang boom bust bang boom, to give it its full name. And its cyclical narrative goes like this. As winners and losers in awe, locked together post-war, shocked, believing this time surely being over forever, Those who got the dubious claim to give their name as the generation that became nothing more than sacrificial body counts on both sides, left behind in the wake of their "we felt we had no choice" again, war again, so finally broken by their savage loss and its attendant woes. Those souls, winners and losers of us left behind, are reminded why trying to act like one humanity our hardest before our days became darkest was so important after all. In the rawness of our moment of loss and pain, we all collectively say, let's never forget that again. Our souls can't take it. And then for a wee while we do, enough of us remember about how important it is to work together. And so for those lucky buggers, things beyond there are up and uppers. Until, as it always does, life throws something out of left field at them. Something challenges that changes everything. Reality gets hazy, ringing any bells maybe. And so we forget to remember whatever it was we were supposed to remember. And seemingly completely unrelated, there's all this ascendant selfish crazy demanding our undivided. All our ears are now spent just trying to work out how. To try to catch up, of course, but we're not quite sure what. And then it's only a matter of time until their flaky, gaffer-tapey, antiquated, out-of-datey, overly subscribed financial trophon begins to be a kraken again, driving the clamouring dogs of war afore its fall. See? Are we there yet? Humanity cries from the back seat of its own car, unironically. Not quite, love, but we're getting there. And at the end of the cycle's ring, some quasi-transcendental happenings. Our timeline splits, demanding we either choose or again lose the right to choose, causing tensions to rise, anger bubbles over, and then for one really good reason or another eventually. But honestly, it really was a really, really good reason this time, which is nearly now, just saying. We are left with no choice but to offer up half a generation of our kids, yours and mine, as a sacrifice to our failure to get our shit together at the right time. And we send them off to try to kill off the other half of a generation of our kids, yours and mine, again. Which is bonkers. You do know that, right? But we be being bonkers again and again and again because we don't learn. Round and around and around. Because we're scared to let go of what we know, even if we know it's wrong, even though we know it's wrong, fearing no one else will play along. And so each time, in this time, we let these ear times get good folks better. Because the fear we tried to hide also stops us speaking our truth boldly, which we mistake as others not listening to us properly coldly. And then so even exchanges between friends can recede into rhetoricals, plummet into platitudes. And then we really do stop hearing each other. Because what is there to listen to? He said rhetorically. And the only time we can learn this lesson is when we have mostly stopped listening. But when we believe we still are. But we're not. Which is now. Boom, bust, bang. Because every time we allow ourselves to kowtow, and so in the end good folks have no choice but to go off to fight. So we never really learn, and so we don't get this end bit right. Remember the war to end all wars 2 world wars ago? They believed we had learned, but really only they had learned. Bang boom bust bang boom. So the why of the first what is because we are stuck in a rut of a cycle. The how in the middle of the why, what, how and what then is how then do we deal with being stuck in this rut of a cycle? Which when rendered simplistically just means basically what do we do differently? And how we do actually do this differently basically boils down to us choosing to take a journey together in time. A journey together of just one step at a time, one breath at a time, when you break it down. A journey together where all we have to do is make sure everything happens at its right time, mind, which it will do, because of us all keeping focused on that one step at a time business. Because that's what makes this work. In times of change, keep your focus on the step before you and faith that your feet will find the next step along when its time becomes. That's all. Faith in the process. A journey we have to choose to take together, to stand up for the goodness of each other, even as we stare down a barrel of World War III and its impending genocidal catastrophe. A game of chicken with our very near destiny, if you like, and I do. actively choosing, pursuing and winning the peace afore war proper befalls, and so showing that we have learnt the lesson that this cycle has been trying to teaching us all along with each iteration, that when we approach this bit in the cycle, as we always do, as we are right now, we finally realise that in this moment we have to choose together to look beyond the fog of our mounting anger, to consciously choose to see clear through, to peer into our near future, where there, waiting for them beyond all this, is then a choice to be made together, but that we can only manifest this choice for ourselves as them, and so then for each other in our near future, beyond in time the anger we are already letting getting our better. And so once broken through, we are then free to skip the conflict altogether and so go straight to lesson learnt this time. Not just the pain of the lesson, the learning of the lesson. Because we don't break out of the cycle we are stuck in. Actually, we fix it. Actually, we heal it by learning the lesson time trying teaching us each iteration again, again and again. And by beginning to learning again, so we do begin growing again. Because that's how time works. Imagine that. To move away from all this onto the next bit, where humanity begins collectively getting together its shit. Because this is our moment of choice in time, to create for our future selves a choice beyond the conflict point to shine. But only if they came together in time, on the right timeline, this time around. Which I do appreciate, mate. Could just be the rhyming ravings of a lunatic, don't you think? And as will ever be thus, we get to choose if raving lunatic is us. If you're still struggling to see the dolphins with me, then the trickle to my nonsense be to keep your mind's eyes mobile, not static and docile. Allow the best of you go search for my sense without your inner narrator tagging along and claiming domain, if you know what I mean. Just words, me, you, love and time. And when it you find, this of all should hopefully help. Hopefully. Maybe it has already. Hello? Can you hear me? To choose to look beyond our currently increasing anger, to then manifest this choice we can only create for each other, within the peace that for now yet lay beyond these good folks' reach. But if we did realise it as a choice in time, then we will have taken the first step on a whole new timeline together, no less. The first step on a path that leads towards the growing inevitability of our realisation of the reality of the oneness of our humanity. A single caretaker entity within the wider framework of its host, Mother Nature. And your inner narrator may lay claim pipe dreams of a deluded fantasist. But I just smile, hold both your gaze for a while, and then say, keep looking for the dolphins, buddy. And you say, just because some of it rhyme, don't mean it's true. And I say, bidoo bidoo, bidoo bidoo bidoo. And talking of things unspoken, just so you know, that bit of your mind that's been fighting me all the way along, I know. Fighting because it believes it's the right thing to do, to protect you. But really it's just keeping you alone, afraid, we all the same. And I'm going to push us towards confronting this bit of ourselves together again. Communally, multilaterally. With just my love and my poetry, flashcard. And the first thing we have to confront together on our journey of just one step at a time is our fear of the failure writ large in our future. Because we can't see beyond what we currently be. We can't look to our future at the knowing, reflected, what we will see. A future of challenges that as we are no match for. As we are. But yet again, you are not alone feeling depressed and pissed. Every sane person on the planet feels a variation of this, deep down, at the That's how you can tell, by the way, you know. The truth we both hide from each other behind, and so are able to hide behind from each other, which is quite a trick, to be fair to us. Our truth that the inner narrator claims no one else knows, which is why it says what it does, and so the truth we first have to face up to within ourselves, for ourselves, to then be able to take the next step, to be able to open up to each other. Because as soon as we do, you will see that good folks will start, me and you, reaching out to choose to help. Because it's just what good folks do. Can you see it yet? It's a 2D picture of squiggles, and the dolphin has just shot out of the water below in 3D if it helps. To then begin to be able to confront our real future together with the hope we can't do it without, that we can only rediscover within each other. And all this has to happen before our anger gets our better, before the war we foresaw grants us all nothing more than what war always turns us into, again. And all it takes for us to begin this beautiful journey together is to first be honest with ourselves, to then open us up to being honest with each other. Dear humanity, my extended family, our future scares me. It hangs over me. I cry alone for us. Because I'm scared of what we are letting ourselves become. I'm scared that we are not confronting the reality of our environmental future together. And I'm scared that we're going to hand down to our kids a dying planet and a civilization at war with itself. I am scared, but I have hope too. Because I believe in the goodness of you. Enough of you, probably most of us given half a chance. Dear humanity, my extended family, all my love, Mr S Pants. And if you too want better than this and you don't have a better idea than this, then please be brave and try it too. What do we have to lose? First, you have to explicitly allow yourself to feel what you feel without your inner narrator's positive spin bollock shit rigging the deal. And then after an inevitable good cry, tell those you love about how and why you feel, how you truly feel, and then feel better after an inevitable good cry together for sharing your feels again. You will remember, what have you got to lose? But we have to choose. Steer into our fears or let them overtake us. And so finally, for reasons necessarily not yet apparent, 3 months and a day from a date agreed, we arrive at the final what then in our what, why, how. And what then, Mr Smartie Pants with a plan? Well, what then? They are not perfect. Spoiler alert, we never will be. But by just striving for just 3 months and a day, but mostly together, they've rediscovered a lot about each other. They have realised that good folks reside on both sides of all divides is one. That they had to find, no matter how challenging and irrespective, a way to work together was another. But they did, because they realised in time that that was a choice. These people who are the same as us, who are us, if you speak, you will hear their voice. If we choose that to be us, for us to then become them. These good folks have identified their cyclical challenge in time. They have risen to that challenge in its time, changing the very timeline we are on, beginning a new cycle to learn from perhaps. Who knows? They have earned their perspective back, which, if you had your perspective back, you would realise what a big deal this is. They would feel like it was the right time for them, which it was for them to become. And so they did. And that is us. If we choose it to be us. Do you see? I hope you do. Because it's only ever going to be up to me and you what makes this true. Here, now, today, or not. But I have such hope in us. Seeing kindness twixt friends and strangers alike 100 times a day, more if I pay closer attention. A hope within me that will never die, till so do I. Because I believe in what I see in the hearts and minds of just ordinary folk like you and me. More if I pay closer attention. I've been Mr Smartie Pants. This has been the cyclical narrative of what, why, how and what then. You've been both patient and lovely. Time is precious, so thank you for that of this of yours. Releasing you back to your current timeline in 5, 4, 3, 20 minutes.